Jay Levin now continues his life mastery teaching with his first of 2 classes on financial and career success, which is the 5th class in his life mastery course.
So, okay, here we go. Class number 5 in the Life Mastery Basics course. And this is going to be our first of 2 classes on financial manifestation and success. And this particular class deals with the inner basics of financial manifestation, meaning the elements inside yourself and your way you are in the world that will dramatically enhance your ability to be successful, to have the physical means and material means you want in your life. So this is about financial success and the deeper meaning and implications of what you might know as financial success. So there's a tool you're going to need to begin this class. And I'm going to ask you to make this tool happen for yourself and pause the DVD while you do it. What you're going to want is anything that'll make a pendulum, anything that's going to make a pendulum, something that you can swing. I'm using a piece of string and a paper clip. So you can use a key hanging from something, just go get a paper clip and a piece of string, whatever will make something that's free-floating and light enough to move around easily. And this is not a woo-woo pendulum class, but I'll explain that to you. This is about you and your neural net. So as soon as you come back, I'll tell you more about how we're going to do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to learn, using this pendulum, something about our programming around money. We could do this about anything, any subject, and you may want to play with it later once you learn the technique. But really, we're going to turn this into a exercise in learning what our real inner program is. And I promise you, it's almost certain that in certain places it's going to surprise you. But we're going to look at your inner programming to start about with money. And I want to explain the difference between using this the way we're going to use it and using it in the more somewhat woo-woo sense, like, will I be rich tomorrow? Or testing these unknowable quantities, or should I go to Hawaii this month, et cetera, et cetera. That's a level of making easy mistakes, because if you're not truly in alignment with your knowing self and your higher self, any part of your neural net or your anxiety or traumatized self can take over control of the pendulum and fool you. So I don't even trust myself with this, and I never use it for anything other than what I'm going to show you today, because I don't trust that I'm completely in touch with my higher self at every moment and know it's having control. And that takes a good deal of mastery to be in that place. But what I am aware of is that my program, my neural net program, will have some evidence for me. And I can learn about my neural net program and how I'm programmed. So the way we do this, for those who haven't done it, is I'm going to ask you to hold your pendulum in front of you in a comfortable place, right? And what we want to do, and this is for those who have never done it, for those who have done it before and who already have some experience in yes, no's, and I don't know training, you use what you already know. But for our purposes here, what I want you to do is allow the pendulum to swing to and from your body. So it's swinging towards my body and away from my body. So allow the pendulum to do it, and then say to the pendulum, say it aloud if you're on DVD, quietly in the classroom. Just say, this is yes. This is yes. This is yes. This is yes. Okay? Just say, this is yes. This is yes. Good. Do that a few times and then stop it. Okay? And then swing it the other way. Swing it sideways to your body, left to right in front of your body, and say, this is no. This is no. This is no. This is no. Okay? And now stop that. And now hold it centered again and swing it clockwise. Just make it go in a circle clockwise and say, this is I don't know. This is I don't know. This is I don't know. Okay? Very good. So pause it. Okay? Hold it in front of you, right? And let it be still in front of you. Don't do anything other than hold it still and say, show me yes. Show me yes. And just watch what happens. Show me yes. So now one of two things will be happening, right? For most of you, the pendulum should have started swinging just like mine did. Believe me, I'm not putting any pressure behind it. Just as mine did, swinging to and fro my body. So most of you will happen that way. Some of you may get the opposite reaction. It makes it swing negative, right? So that's going to be your yes. And this simply means that your left brain's not talking to your right brain clearly enough. And there's an educational kinesiology technique to have it change, but we don't want to do that right now. So you're going to accept that as your yes, okay? Now hold it in front of you again, so just comfortably. You know, your arm can be resting, it doesn't matter. It's whatever is comfortable for you, right? Hold it in front, just gently, and say, okay, show me no. Show me no. Now, if you got a no, a real no, that as you programmed it, and it repeated itself twice, that no, what I want you to do is I want you to pause the DVD, go have a drink of water, come back, do cross crawls. Cross crawl is where you raise your left knee and tap it with your right hand, put it down, raise your right knee, tap with your left hand. I want you to thump a little bit on your thymus after you drink the water, right? Thump on your thymus, and then come back and start from the beginning and do it again. This is yes, and just do it a few more times and say it aloud. This is yes, right? This is no, right? And this is I don't know. And then say, okay, after you pre-program yourself, show me yes, show me no. First show me yes, good. Then show me no. And then show me I don't know. Now, for the vast majority of you out there, this is just going to go really smooth. So some of you may want to experiment with doing it, holding it in your right hand or left hand and see which goes better for you. And you can also do a quick test by asking yourself, say your name and say, my name is so-and-so, yes or no, and see what you get. And then give yourself a false name, my name is some false name, and say yes or no, and see what you get. And by that time, it should be working exactly right, because you've trained your machine. So one of the things that, most people say, well, how could this be? And what does this prove? All it proves is how easy it is to program your machine, how sensitive this machine is. So imagine as a kid that you're getting all this input, that somebody says 2 and 2 is 5. Your machine thinks 2 and 2 is 5. It's not emotionally 2 and 2 is 5. They teach you, I'm not good enough. Well, you're not good enough. Well, boom, 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 it's in there as a piece of the machine. And the machine is very easily programmed. It's the most phenomenal machine in the universe, or in the world, rather, in this earth world. It's the most phenomenal machine that we know of, and how easily it's programmed and what its capacities are.
Jay in this next section looks at how to identify the unconscious issues and beliefs that impede financial success.
Okay, so now we're gonna ask a series of questions, financial questions. And what I want you to do is, I'll read off the financial question to you. You test it whether you get a yes or no or a maybe. And when you have your answer, write down the question and write down the answer. And then once we have a series of answers, we'll know what to do with it. I'll tell you what to do with it later, okay? And I encourage those of you watching this to just pause as needed so you can do your writing down. Okay, here we go. Have your pendulums ready. Okay, first question. Money is a really good thing, yes or no? Write down your answer. Next question. Having vast amounts of money is a really good thing. Next question. I specifically deserve to have a lot of money. I specifically deserve to have a lot of money. Yes or no? Next question. There's probably something wrong with anyone who has a lot of money. There's probably something wrong with anyone who has a lot of money. Next question. There is too little money in the world for me to get a good portion of it. There is too little money in the world for me to get a good portion of it. Next question. Obtaining money is always some kind of struggle. Obtaining money is always some kind of struggle. Next question. If I'm struggling for money, it means I'm not good enough and there is something wrong with me. If I'm struggling for money, it means I'm not good enough and there's something wrong with me. Next question. People who have money are better than those who don't. People who have money are better than those who don't. Next question. I am guilty of my own lack of abundance. I am guilty of my own lack of abundance. So those are the questions we're going to start with. You can ask yourself later other questions that you might come up to you about attitudes about money, inner attitudes about money that you might have. It's useful to do that.
Coming up next, Che interprets and gives more meaning to the pendulum process.
So for the people in the class here, let's share a little bit about what the nature of your experience was with this. What did you find out about yourself that may have surprised you? Or where were you pleased?
On question number 2, I got a maybe. I didn't get a definitive yes or no.
And question number 2 is, I think having a lot of money is really good. Maybe. Okay, so you don't have a real take on that.
I don't have a take of whether it's a positive, good, or...
Were there any negatives that came up for you?
Well, 4 through 9 were all no.
4 through 9.
Were all no.
Well, that's healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anything you had a charge on that you would think I want to change this thought if this is no? So you're in good shape.
I'm real clear. I mean, the maybe was the only thing that was a fluctuation.
Well, that's good. You're in pretty good shape. Okay. Anybody else?
There's a question about guilty,
Mm-hmm.
being guilty.
I'm guilty of my own lack of abundance.
Mm-hmm. That was a I don't know answer, which felt like that word guilty. That word guilty doesn't work for me in terms of money.
Okay, so that was so. Were there any things where you felt you had a negative charge? Where you felt, I wish I didn't have that program.
No, I felt like I observed that I used to have these thoughts, but I don't have them anymore. So it was kind of funny to hear them.
So obtaining money is always some kind of struggle. You gotta know. Okay.
All right. This was not a simple process because I don't trust the little no's and yeses. I didn't have major movements, so everything was very, very subtle. A couple of them, I put question marks because I wasn't sure. Sometimes it would start on a yes and then change to a no. I don't know what that means, but it would start in there or no. I think I resonated with everything that's not healthy, but I have no problems with that. It is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is. Well, not quite. Not
For
quite.
right now.
Not quite. So cool. So you had, anyone you felt the most charge on?
I don't think I felt a charge. I mean, I just was looking and observing, and perhaps I was surprised that my body thinks otherwise. Maybe my brain thinks one way, but my somehow the body's responding a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just accepting it.
So that's pretty common, where you'll have even subtle things. You'll find that we all have charges. We have charges around money. There's a joke that goes, a woman goes to her therapist and lays out these extraordinary intimate details of her sex life and all the games she plays sexually. And then the doctor says, okay, I get where you are in that. And tell me the story about your relationship to your finances. And she says, now you're getting personal. Ooh. My father used to hide his wallet. So an area in the culture in which we have a lot of charge is around money issues. Huge charges of money represents survival, money represents me against you, money represents I ain't got enough, you may have too much, or I want more. Infinite charges. Money represents image, status. I'll buy that car that I can't afford and that house I can't afford because I want to look bigger than I am. I want to have respect in the society, all kinds of stuff. So money has toxicity in many elements of the culture and how we approach it and how we deal with it and how we lie about it and manipulate about it. Ergo, Wall Street crashes, and we still can't get the Federal Reserve to tell us what they did with the banks, to release that information. So it's all secret and private. And underneath that is a great deal of attitudes about money that include, there's something wrong with me if I don't have money. That's a very common one. There's something wrong with you if you do have money, or you're better than me if you do have money. One of those two things shows up a fair amount, even if it happened not to show up with you. And the idea that there's something specifically wrong, and you can attach specific wrong around so many elements of money. And these are programs that come at us. We hear our parents talk about something in childhood, and we get this program. And these programs run us in certain quiet ways. You may not be feeling it in your body, but if you're in insufficiency, one of the things you want to do is examine your programs, because these programs are an energetic field. You have a relationship to these energetic fields, even if they're not conscious. And you want to clean them up. You want to get them out of the way so they're not blocking your real self from being able to manifest what it is. So one of the ways to do this is, once you identify what this is, where your negative programming is, you can do a positive affirmation of it. You can put it up on your healing wall. A positive affirmation would be a turnaround. Even though I'm programmed to believe that I'm guilty because of my lack of abundance, I am now in the process of recognizing that that's just a false belief, and I'm going to manifest from my true self all the comfort and need that I have, all my needs and comforts. Create your own comfortable turn around and just tell it to yourself. Put it up on the wall and tell it to yourself, because you want to start remagnetizing that process. If you have an issue that you have pain around, in other words, if you can attach the idea that you have pain around this feeling of failure, and you've got that program, and it's not working, you can do an NLP process or even a heart math process. You can just keep working it so that you're reversing, you're reprogramming the machine. Remember, the whole idea of getting the trauma out of the way is that the biggest obstacle is the machine, and you want to reprogram it every way you can and not let it have its way with you. And it's not that hard. It's a few simple techniques, basically. It's persistence. It's not difficulty. It's just persistence, and persistence takes care of it. So we want to go into that. The other thing we want to do is work from a different kind of principle, which is that the more you own and stand and give authority to those decisions, what's healthy about you, the more your trauma side is reduced. The fact is, there's nothing you can do better for yourself on any given issue than to give authority to your healthy self, stand in that, and stay out of your trauma self. And on the financial side, that means being able to know where you actually should be manifesting your financial success and be in alignment with your financial success. So we want to remove these blocks, these impediments from success. And it's just one of the things that's important to us. And when you're identifying your negative, what I'm calling negative, is those things where if you held that belief, it clearly can't serve you. It doesn't serve you to have a belief that people are better than, worse than because they have money. It doesn't serve you to have a belief that you're inadequate in any way. It doesn't serve you to have a belief that money is scarce and a struggle in the world. Some part of your rational mind may say, well, of course that's true. And it defies the principles of why some people have more money and some people have less. And it also defies the principles of what would happen if we were in a different position in the world collectively towards money. Because the earth itself is abundant, why is it spread around in such a manner that some of us seem to have a great deal of lack? And there are real world reasons for this, but it's part of the collective matrix. And there are also things you can do to get yourself out of the way of being in a position where you're blocking your own potential for making money.
Jay now guides the class to understand how to identify your own best opportunity for having the career and life that will truly satisfy you.
So what we want to look at now is what it really takes to manifest money in a way that's in alignment with your true self, in a way that allows you to have the sufficiency you need in life, the abundance you need in life, feel comfortable, feel safe financially, and yet be doing what you want to be doing in life. And the two are intricately linked. There's no separation between having the life you want and having the money you want once you understand the principles of how this operates and who you really are. So we're going to go on what I hope will be for most of you maybe one of the most profound experiences of your life. We're going to go in search of a true calling, a true self, a true direction for your life, a true way of understanding who you are in life. I'm going to take you through a guided meditation to get you there. And then we can evaluate, once we understand, what course corrections you might want to take in life. So here's what I'd like you to do. Get comfortable, put down your writing instruments. And this is a guided meditation where it's important that you listen to me very carefully. Follow exactly what I'm saying. And I'll repeat almost everything more than once so you get it. But once we start rolling on this, it's really important you follow it specifically for your own benefit. So close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, and imagine yourself in some place where you're feeling really content with life. Maybe you're on vacation. Someplace you're really feeling content with life, feeling at peace and content, as much content as you can feel. Right? You're just feeling at peace. Could be anywhere, sitting in your bedroom to sitting on a beach, whatever it is for you. Go back to the place of contentment. Now, what I'd like you to do is paying very close attention to me. Imagine this feeling magnified, and imagine that you're feeling voluptuously this way, and you're going to flash forward 50 years from now. Doesn't matter how old you are now, but you're going to flash forward 50 years from now. You see yourself somewhat aged, but you're very, very glowingly content with your life. 50 years from now, you're not afraid of death, you're healthy, you're feeling really good. And you're looking back on your life from that point of view to when you were in this classroom. Everything from after what happened in this classroom, or for those of you at home, everything that happened after you watched these DVDs. And what you're observing a life that got you to this point where you're really, really, really satisfied, unbelievably satisfied and content with the life you've had for the last 50 years. I want you to notice everything you were doing in those 50 years, what kind of work you were doing, the people around you, what was giving you satisfaction, what in your career, what in relationship, what was really giving you satisfaction. You're free of any worry, but here you are having the experience of reminiscing about these 50 really satisfying years where you really felt your life has been worthwhile. Whatever you were doing, service work, whatever it was, career work, family stuff, friend stuff, just look at that picture and let it play out for you. Take time and let it play out for you. See as many details as you can. So after you have this vision, take all the time you need, open your eyes and write down, so you remember them, as many of the details as you can of this vision you've had of your life. Some of those details might still be coming forward as you write. But this picture of your life, your satisfying life. And now what I want you to do is write down the gifts and traits, the talents, the gifts, the traits, the aptitudes, the skills that you saw yourself bring to bear in this life. What was it that you were delivering to other people? What was your particular skill set? Good. The next thing I want you to do is answer this question, all right? Looking back on your skills and look at the life you felt satisfied living, the life you feel satisfied living that can create contentment for you. Answer this following question. What am I one of the solutions to? What am I one of the solutions to? In my own case, when I asked myself that question, I said, well, I'm one of the solutions to people having better understanding of themselves and human relationships in this mode. As a journalist, I would have said I'm one of the solutions to people having better information about the world and more clarity. So answer that question. What are you one of the solutions to? Okay, so now if this has been successful for you, if they've done this right, you've had this vision, you have a vision of what could be a satisfying life for you, what talents you bring to bear, and a sense of what your individual uniqueness is. May not be the only uniqueness, but you're one of the people helping be a solution to some of the challenges that the world presents, right? Maybe you're bringing fun. Maybe you're bringing a certain kind of caringness. Could be anything. This now brings us to the issue of what is identity? How do we know ourselves? Who are we, right? And the reality is we only know ourselves in roles, right? We know ourselves as mothers. We know ourselves as fathers. We know ourselves as architects, or whatever the role is. The role is in relationship to somebody else. That's the way the mind works, in relationship to the social order. I'm a good guy cameraman. There's a self-identity. So the reality is we always understand ourselves in relationship to everybody else. In our true souls, we actually have a true way of holding space for others, so that we have a resonance. So that if we're really living out our lives not in reactiveness with others, our very presence is shifting other people to a certain place inside themselves, because we have a particular tonality that's unique to us. And that tonality is usually found and expressed in a certain form of ways of relating in the world that become when the mind assumes this identity. So if you see yourself in service work in your life, happily in service work, that's who you are, right? And if you've got gifts for that, you don't have those gifts accidentally. Those gifts were part of what you were created as, the part of you that didn't create yourself. You may have other educations, but if you're an artist, you didn't go get skill, learn to be an artist, develop techniques of an artist. And if you don't have a gift in it and then find out you're just a bad artist, as many people find out. So the exercise here is to separate out the idea of I've got to be king of the hill or queen of the castle, and really look at what represents a satisfying life, not one where you're just being better or richer or having more cars or whatever it is than everybody else. This is about having a life that's in comportment with a feeling of completion, a feeling of self-expression, of true self-expression, right? And that's what we all want from life. That's what we didn't get as a child, the ability to freely express ourselves and be free. That's the goal of our life, to be able to express what we really are. and be in that dance with others. So the next 50 years, you want to envision yourself in that dance with others from a place that's completely satisfying to you. And if you had trouble getting this the first time while we're doing it on tape, keep doing it. It will come to you. Do it again. Try it again. Find a time when you're really at peace or when you're really feeling safe, and sit down and do a meditation like this. Revisit it. If it showed you doing anything other where you were in power over people, etc., you know that's your idealized self. If it showed you being the boss of something in a way where you're not being nurturing a group of people, being a player with them, even if you're the boss, brilliant bossdom is, how do I be in service to the people who are working with me so that their true selves can do the best, so they're not in a traumatized situation and they can be most creative and feel most fulfilled. That's what a really good manager does. Best managers try to be organizers of healthy circles, people in creative community with each other, and just be facilitators of that. That's really good management. So whatever your vision is, give it some respect. If it seems to be an alliance with something other than power over, give it real respect. Give it its due, because this can be the doorway to a sense of who you really are. And ultimately, it's all the identity you need. You will learn who you are and really get the layers and textures of that by expressing what you are, just being it and doing this.
Moving forward, Jay now answers some of the basic questions that tend to arise over what he has just been teaching.
So before we go on and link this to how it relates to making money and what money is all about, and then some of the more pragmatic follow-up stuffs to this, I'd like to hear from you, each of you, about what you experienced here, how it worked for you. So who would like to volunteer first?
Well, I had the vision of 50 years from now, and basically I was in my beach house, jacuzzi, which is funny because I already have that now anyway.
Right.
So I felt the same contentment that I have now, except with accomplishments that I'm desiring to have now, which are accomplishments with my work, in terms of a program I want to create and put out into the world that will help people. So what came up is that I'm here to help people heal, not to heal them or tell them how to do it,
right,
but assist in themselves finding their healing.
That's great. So you're in the broader category of healer as part of your true nature, with a specific vision to be carried forward as that. And that feels really like a completely satisfying life, right? A true expression of yourself, right?
And then the beauty of it is I'm in Malibu then.
All right. Yeah,
That
you're
was
fine.
perfect.
The beauty of it is you're taken care of financially, which I'll get to in a minute. Okay. So this is really great. You've got a vision in which you're in alignment with, gives you self-respect, self-satisfaction, and it turns out you're in service to others in a certain kind of way, right? And it feels, this is a good life. This is a good, rewarding life, and your creativity is being expressed, right? So good. Excellent. So that's who you are. You're this person who's a healer, who's going to be here and do this and going to manifest this. And the thing that you were the solution to, one of the solutions to?
One of the solutions to?
Yeah. What were you one of the solutions to?
That was it. Helping people find their own
Oh,
healing.
okay. Got it. Great.
Coming to the healing themselves.
Okay.
Okay, my experience with this was that it was not so simple. I had a hard time really transferring the joyous self from now to the future and have it be sustained. It was because perhaps my life situation right now are not at the greatest joy. That was not a simple thing for me to bring it and see myself 50 years from now, joyous. So that's one. Second, when I was thinking of future, I was thinking my grandmother. That when my vision was, okay, who do I know that's 87? Okay, grandmother. And so I really kind of transferred her face onto my face. So I don't know if that had anything. I saw myself sitting in like a camp type situation. So it was in the woods, and there were a lot of trees, and there were a whole bunch of children all over the place, and they were just kind of, I was on a rocking chair, and they were jumping on me and off of me, on me and off of me, and I supposedly enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was just a lot of connection with people in this
Mm-hmm.
place, just a lot of connection. And that's the only thing that I really saw.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't at all do a flashback to what my life was like from now until then. None of that. I couldn't see what I do in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see contribution. I could only see myself at that age being very connected with people and a lot of children in a very peaceful nature
Mm-hmm.
like
Got it.
environment. When you asked about what we bring, what our thing is,
Mm-hmm.
love. That was
Mm-hmm.
that's my gift. I bring,
Mm-hmm. Nice gift.
yeah. Not that I know exactly how to use that,
Mhm.
but I bring love, understanding, and compassion.
Well, you know how to play with children.
I don't know if I know how to play with children. That was it.
Yeah, that's a great share. I appreciate it. That's really good. It's good for two reasons. One, because it helps people who might be watching the DVDs understand that they may not be alone if they didn't get there the first try, right? Some people can't get there the first try because their trauma around the issues about their lives and success are right up in front of them. So what I recommend to them is, and recommend to you, is that you work on, use the other tools you've been learning. Wait until to do this again until you find yourself genuinely in some peaceful place. So whatever you're doing, if you're doing one of the meditations to bring down your pain body, to take the emotions out, wait until you're feeling more comfortable, more safe. Maybe do Sedona. You know, go back and forth until that sense of well-being and safety in the world is now so paramount in the moment. And then go do the practice of looking back 50 years and what gave you satisfaction. Because this is a vision quest. Actually, it's a shorthand form. I mean, 99 out of 100 people I've dealt with have found success with this. It's why I use it, because it's such a shorthand way and having a vision quest in almost no time at all that says, this is the kind of life I want to leave, and I'm going to put my life in this direction. So be patient with it and just wait and work on the trauma that's blocking it. And the idea that you're manifesting love, right? So every form of what we want to do, when you really get down to what people are doing from their healthy selves, you're always manifesting love. It's a question of what we're building and how we're manifesting it. Maybe you want to manifest that love by healing people. Maybe that's the manifestation for it. Maybe you want to manifest that love by building better, more ecological buildings because your vision is that the world to be sustained. But it's love driving service, right? It's love driving that, and it's an inner calling. It's not that you're looking for, hey, look at me, I'm doing so great, I'm so hot, I'm so fabulous, right? It's like you're expressing the love and you're caring, and that automatically brings you people resonating on that vibrational level, appreciating what you're doing, honoring what you're doing, etc. So as we just saw with Kinneret, what this means is be patient. Finding your true direction is going to come pretty quickly. And then the question becomes, what happens once you do find it? What are you going to do? Some people, and maybe a lot of you, are already working in that direction. And so what this will be is affirmation for you that you're in the right place. Relax with it. Enjoy it. Stop your questioning mind about whether this is where I should be, what I should be doing. Maybe I should be doing this. Maybe I should be doing that for more money or for more glory or whatever it is. If you get that trauma, if you take that trauma out of the way and just fully relax into doing this, expanding the education that you might need to do it even better, just doing it wholeheartedly with intentionality, your level of success will increase. If you work simultaneously on any blocks you identify, subconscious blocks with different affirmations, turnaround affirmations, you'll be clearing up energetically the field for the universe to get in and give you what you want. So this is very powerful work. And remember, the rule of the universe that I believe and I teach in the class is that once you know who you really are and you move with real intentionality to manifesting that, and you just say, this is where I'm going, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, the universe is going to meet you dramatically. It's going to really provide you, doors will open, opportunities will show up. You know, you've had that experience already when you open a new door. Suddenly there's 5 people for 5 things that you suddenly learn about that. That's the way it works. So trust the way it works. Trust that once you've established a sense of what's satisfying life for you for the next 50 years, that this is going to be meaningful for you to move towards, and to say very calmly and peacefully, I'm going in that direction. And I'll add to my education in that area, and I'll clear up any internal blocks that are stopping me energetically from just being able to receive what the universe wants to provide for me by way of opportunities to increase my capacities there.
Jay now addresses the question of what is money, and he defines abundance while laying down some of the core principles for understanding real success and its relationship to money.
So the next thing we want to talk about is the relationship of this to money. So an important thing to note, both in these sharings and in whatever you may have created for yourself at home, that for the vast majority of people, the vision rarely ends up, I live in a big mansion and I have infinite wealth and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, etc. The vision is almost always in terms of some kind of satisfying, playful creativity in the world, or some satisfying creative playfulness. And that raises the issue of money and brings us to the issue of what is money. And what I want to share is the thought that money is just energy. It's neither good nor bad. It's only what you do with it. It's only how you use money. There's no charge, should be no charges around it. It's an energy form in the universe. So you could be a billionaire, like these guys on Wall Street who ripped everybody off and got to sit there and congressional testimony, and you looked at those people and you thought, at least I thought, I would not want to be one of those people. Because the idea of aggrandizing yourself and bringing that towards you was about aggrandizing yourself, about being the king. Will they have satisfying lives? Well, they may have some ego hits for a while, but we're not talking about the vision of a life that's lived in full satisfaction. So could you have $1 billion and do great stuff with it? Absolutely. I mean, why not? I mean, I know what I would do if I had $1 billion. If I decided it's my job to manifest $1 billion, I would finance a campaign to take money out of politics, because we have such a corrupt system. We can't trust the system anymore. All the politicians are bought and paid for. So that hardly serves us, and it hardly serves us having a wise use of our country. So that's one of the things I would do as a core fundamental thing with money. So money is energy, and some of us are energetically aligned with having a lot of money and being in service with that lot of money. And some of us are way more energetically aligned of being in service, as our friend here was, with healing, being a healer, and actually teaching people to be their own healer, and feeling that she'd end up in Malibu with in a jacuzzi. Now, you can live in a condo or a small house in Malibu, not necessarily. She didn't say I was going to live in a major mansion, but it was the jacuzzi and the nice setting she was really talking about. Many people, sufficiency and satisfaction is living in a small apartment. They don't care. That's comfortable, that's well decorated, feels it satisfies their needs, right? So abundance is usually misinterpreted as more than our needs. Abundance is really sufficiency. It's sufficiency in alignment with who we really are. It's sufficiency in alignment with our authentic self. That's the true meaning of abundance. That's the kind of abundance you want. I don't need to live in some big mansion myself. I'm comfortable in a modest size, very modest size house, and I'm more than comfortable because it all meets my needs. So whatever yours are, your sufficiency needs are going to reveal themselves through the quality of what you are acting out in your daily life. And if your intention is to be in service, a service job that only provides a living that doesn't put you in a big mansion, and you're completely satisfied with that, and it's healthy because you focus on something else, you're living in your abundance. Your abundance is your expression of yourself. And when you express your true self, you automatically get sufficiency. The universe will take care of you. So when your idealized self gets in there and looks at other people and says, well, they got that, maybe I should have that, you're already not in your true self. You're already looking outward and trying to say, what am I create myself as that makes me feel better because they've got it? That's not feeling better because you're being in your true self and expressing your natural self. So it's important to understand sufficiency as abundance and to honor it. So what does that mean? It means that you've got a starting point for where you want to go. You've got a starting point of a vision of who you want to be in life and an acceptance and a trust that it's going to satisfy your material wants and needs, such as they might be for you, okay? And then the question is, what do you have to do in the real world plane if you're not there to shift to that, right? So some of you may be doing something that's completely off the wall, that has nothing to do with your real self. A lot of people get carried off into ventures that their fathers wanted them to do, or it's not really in alignment, and they might be even making money, a lot of money at it, but they're really unhappy. That's not what you want out of life. What you want out of life is the expression of what you were created as, and that vision for a satisfied, fully satisfied life. And if you're not there and you're not getting it now, then you got to be prepared, and you want to get there, then you've got to be prepared to change that. And changing it means actually going through a step-by-step process. And if you're in it already, but you want to expand it, that means a step-by-step, very practical process that I'm going to talk about for the rest of this session. And then in the next class, we're going to lay down some of the really concrete steps for manifesting in this life and using your time appropriately and being most effective once you have determined where you're going and put your intention of aligning yourself with this vision for your life, for a satisfying life.
In this next section, Jay begins teaching the fundamentals of financial manifestation, beginning with creating mind maps.
At this point, I want you to get another piece of paper out, and I'm going to have you draw something that will be helpful to you. So I'll give you a second to get another piece of paper. So as a first step, what we're going to do is we're going to create something called a mind map. And the mind map is a visual depiction of the satisfying life you're going to lead. And it's going to be a step-by-step depiction, certain amount of time, how you're going to be moving towards it in a certain amount of time. And it can be a big picture overview of where you want to end up, the overall mind map. So you're going to become the artist of your own mind map. And the reason we create mind maps is so we can have a visual picture, because remember, the unconscious aligns with visual symbols. That's why dreams are so important. They align with archetypal symbols. Our being aligns with goals, and our energetic structure of the universe aligns with when we lay out an energetic field in which like energy can meet like energy, and we can see it and have it happen. And this gives you pragmatic place of reinforcing your intention to be the person you're meant to be in this world, to be one of the solutions you're meant to be. You'll notice on the screen behind me, there's a circle with some spokes and some writing on those spokes. And above that it says, here I am in, and it's got a time frame. The one we chose for this is 3 months, okay? So this is the beginning of you creating a mind map. So draw that circle. So we're just going to draw it roughly now, and I'm going to encourage you later to really flesh it out. But right now, just so you get in the hang of it, draw the circle and draw the spokes. And write on it, here I am in, pick a period of time of which you'd like to see yourself moving forward. It can be 3 months, 6 months, a year. Pick one of those as preliminary steps. As I said, you can always do this for here I am 20 years from now. 10 years from now. But let's start with this, okay? So each of these spokes represents a visual place you want to be, a place you can visualize yourself in your success path towards manifesting where you really want to be. And the rule about the spokes is you keep them in the present tense. You always keep them in the present tense, and you always add a happy adverb before the verb. Let's assume you're going to open a new business. So I am happily enjoying the crowds coming in on opening day or an opening week of my new business. You would write that down, right? And the additional spokes you might add, each spoke will deal with something else you're doing or seeing as a result of the happy opening. Maybe it's good relationships with employees that are helping lead to success. Maybe it's a family celebration. Just think of things that would represent, images that would represent success for you. Find an adverb describing how you would be in the present tense there, and write that down. So you're gleefully doing something, you're happily, you're contentedly. You can be clever with your adverbs. And the verb is what the action is. So it stays in the present tense. There's two fundamentals about this that are important to share. One is keep it realistic. In other words, I've chosen this idea of successfully opening a business in 3 months. It might be 6 months. It might be 9 months. It might be in 3 months, all you've done is finalize the financing for it. You want to create a mind map that stays within the bounds of credible reality. You don't want to say in 3 months, I'm a billionaire from a chain of restaurants I just opened. That's not going to happen, right? Not unless you've already well down the road to it and you have a famous name, and even that's not going to guarantee your success. You know, this is a credible mind map. We may be taking a little advantages, stretches here, but you want to keep it very credible. And you can do one for 6 months and 9 months and a year, but you want to keep them within the bounds of what's literally doable if you're moving at a decent pace forward without grandiose expectations. But you're moving towards what you feel is your goal and who you want to be. And then once you've finished the mind map, the rough one here, you actually want to go make it a big picture. You want to spend some time, make it a little bit of an art piece, paste up photograph, paste up things that represent what would be successful, write funny lines about it, put up symbols that represent success for you. Make it something that when you put it near your meditation space or in your workspace, represents a concrete visual presentation of where you want to be, so that when you look at it and you meditate on it, it actually infiltrates your neural net and creates a picture for your whole beingness of where you want to go. And it's very valuable to spend 5 or 10 minutes a day just meditating as a visualization on and feeling and seeing how you're dressed, seeing the colors, seeing it actually carried out with confidence that it'll happen this way because you haven't overreached, because it is in alignment with yourself. And just see yourself calmly, to sort of happily, doing this because it feels natural to be there. It feels perfectly natural to be there, and you're adding details to the picture. So that's one form of mind map. So this next shape you see on the board is actually a geographic space. It represents the shape of the county I happen to live in. And what it is a mind map that's more like a treasure hunt mind map, in which each step of the way there's a success point. You discover this and you move on to here and you move on to here. And then the big goal at the end of it, the big prize at the end of it, is where you are 1 year in 1 year. And that's the prize. So it's a different way, just a slightly different way of giving yourself the same information. So when you're thinking about where you might want to be in a year, think about where you want to be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 1 month, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month. You can plot that out, make as many stopping points. We're just using a few here. Just see what's natural and comfortable. And each step of that way, you're saying, you're doing the same thing you wrote on the other mind map, which is you're giving a happy verb for that stage of success that you've reached. I'm happily just raised my financing for my new business. We've found, we've contentedly recruited a great staff for the new business, etc. You decide what in your life vision the steps are for what you want to accomplish, and just create a little treasure hunt map where each step of the way brings you to that day of either launching or where you want to be, say, in a year, whatever you picture. And again, you would do the same process. Whichever mind map you choose, you'll take it, you'll make it a nice art piece, and you'll look at it and you'll meditate on it. But meditating on it, not like, I got to have this, if God forbid I don't have this, I'm going to fail. This has got to be in alignment with who you are, the vision you have of your life, confidence in that vision of you have your life is really you want to be, excitement about it, and very measured calculation of step by step what it takes to get there in a realistic way where you're not overreaching and promising yourself huge success in some unrealistic period of time. Realism aligned with your true self will help you a lot.
Jay now concludes the first class with details on how to step-by-step achieve your visions of success.
So now what you see on the screen behind me is a calendar. This happens to be a weekly calendar. And on each of the left-hand columns, each of the columns down the left, is a task. And some of the tasks are tasks oriented towards your progress towards self. And some of the tasks are areas in which you're allowing yourself some break from the task, so you have balance in your life. So we notice we've included our friends, exercise, R&R, solitude time, and the upper ones we've talked about are elements of what might be work you might have to do. This is just a sample chart. So what you want to do is you're doing your mind map. So that's telling you where you're going. That's your bigger picture and the period you're going to go there and the steps you have to take. And then you want to break it down as here so that you're really concretely involved. You're opening those little doors day by day. And you're budgeting your time so you don't burn out. You're taking the day-by-day steps in a practical way, but you're thinking them through. And we're going to go through that a lot more in the next class. But you're really thinking ahead, and you're looking at where you are. And you're saying, okay, this is my first step, this is my second step, this is the hours I have to put in here, that'll fit in nicely in this kind of day, this is the task to be done this week. And this is not written in stone. Things will change, the world will change, but you want to start off fresh and you won't want to overreach because you don't want to find yourself at the end of the day or the end of the week saying, oh my God, I screwed up, I didn't get this done, I'm a terrible person, and develop that tension inside yourself. That's not manifesting healthily. But what you want to do is give yourself a little tap, a little stroke, whenever you say, yeah, this is good. I got this done. I'm making progress. You don't have to make a big deal of it. Yeah, I'm making progress, but acknowledge yourself, because that's good energy. To acknowledge yourself, you've got this done, you've got a satisfaction. And if you overreach, you're going to have a harder time acknowledging yourself. So be measured in your progress, but be intent on making that progress, because it's every door you open, it will open more doors for you and align you towards your successful manifestation of your sufficiency financially and your satisfaction in terms of your life. So this takes the idea of discipline and play, and we mix it up. There's a discipline that goes into being successful, a true discipline that goes into being successful. And what is discipline? Discipline is simply the perseverance of being in the now with patience. So you're here, you're doing the task before you, you're patient, you're in the now, you're not fearful of the future, you know the direction, you're confident in the direction you're going, you've got a vision towards it, you're not hung up on the past, I failed at this, I failed at that. You're using the tools I've given you for dealing with this negative mindset, or tools you've acquired other place for dealing with this negative mindset so it doesn't have authority over you. And you're just sort of gently and happily moving forward in this manifestation of who you really are.
In summing up the class, Jay lays out the major takeaways to keep in mind in order to manifest financial success.
So let's sum up for the class. What have we got out of this? We've got a realization that you need to identify your blocks, and you've got a tool to identifying your blocks to being successful, the unconscious blocks to being successful, excluding and plus the conscious blocks of where you put yourself down, to limit yourself or don't believe in yourself. Secondly, you've got a way of visualizing a satisfying life that's in alignment. And third, you've got a pragmatic way of beginning to map out and construct your day-to-day routine around the vision of that life that's satisfying and, will take you step by step towards where you want to be, and you'll keep visualizing it. So I want to add one thing in closing, is that the mind work, the negative on the mindset, is often seen to be possibly the easiest thrown out, the one that doesn't work easiest. But I encourage you to really, really green light some body of work on your own belief systems and some series of exercises from the one I've taught you. Now, one of the people who's been very successful in teaching about money manifestation is T. Harv Eker, and he's got a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And I don't mind recommending it, but I'm not recommending it in the sense of I think you have to go out, everybody has to read it. But if you find that you're looking for some other exercises, he shares the idea that belief systems really do block. And he does this based on looking at a lot of successful people who feel very satisfied in their life and they're doing good things in their work, and their mindsets about themselves and the difference between their mindsets and the mindsets of people who are struggling. And belief systems and attitudes about self really do matter. So if you want to add, if you don't find enough exercises for, pragmatic exercises that I've given you for turning this around, you might want to pick up the book and see if you like any of his exercises better. So that's your homework. That's your homework. So that's the end of our 5th class in Life Mastery Basics. and our first class in manifestation. And in the next class, what we're going to do is take this to another level in terms of really knowing how to be successful in your day-to-day application of yourself to your life financially. So great. Enjoy yourself for the rest of today, and sayonara.
If you are interested in an appointment with Jay, you can email him at jlevincoaching@gmail.com or contact him directly at jlevin.com. The following are testimonials from students who completed Jay Levin's course on Life Mastery Basics.
Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm a cameraman, and I am sitting here in front of you because on my first day coming in to film Jay, I was very surprised to be a part of what was happening. I was not expecting the shoot that I had walked in on. And after filming Jay for a day, I realized that what he was talking about had been something that I had maybe been searching for a long time. And was very surprised and felt very excited that what I had walked in on and became a part of was something that I would offer up to my family and friends and even my peers. I'm 28 years old. And the first thought that came to my mind was how my buddies could use this skill set to improve and better their own lives. So as I was thinking, standing behind the camera, I spoke up to Jay and felt, I was so excited about what he was talking about that he decided to put me in front to give a small testimonial because I really felt it was necessary to let the audience know how important and groundbreaking these life skills are. Just sit back for a moment and think about your own life and your relationships. And I think what Jay is touching upon is very much the essence of community and family and friendship. And I would highly recommend it to anyone.
One of the things about this course is that it's called Basics of Life Mastery. And I think one of the things that course provides is giving practical tools that can be applied in real life situations so that we can move out of sort of the stance self, move out of the traumatized self, and really make deliberate progress and concrete progress. So I think the tools are one of the most important things, that we're actually learning skills, sets to work with another human being, to actually live and come from a very creative way and fun way of living in life. It's not like a chore. It really makes it more of this engaged way of being in the world. I think the course is extremely valuable no matter whether someone feels extremely skilled in this kind of work. I think it's still, there's always something to be learned, because the moment we think that we've mastered it, we stop learning, we stop growing, and there's always, I think, room to grow. I would say nonviolent communication and also the class on finances and relationships, those are probably the most valuable for me. And learning how to just be with a human being more on a really authentic, open, sharing level where it's very, very connected. No hiding, no gaming, really one person coming to another from the soul level.
Yes, I am feeling some shifts, more shifts of connection with people, family members. I've noticed myself be a bit more empathic than usual, than my usual stance. So I've done a little bit less of that in the last couple of days. I'm a bit more empathic, more communicating. And also I'm noticing a lot more natural bubbling of joy that's coming forward. Well, I found the course meaningful personally, first of all, in the explanation of how we as humans develop our trauma self and how we act from this trauma self. I found that I have a deeper understanding of how I'm acting and reacting, so I find that tremendously valuable. Another thing that's been clearer is how I am in relationships in terms of codependency, i.e., am I telling the truth and am I backing myself up and holding my own when I'm in relations with people? So that's coming up for heightened awareness. Another thing that's coming up from the course is the understanding that the frustration I was feeling in the past few months is me having a very profound need to express myself in many areas that I haven't been very internal.
The things that I've learned in this course that are already affecting my life are as follows. The value of the relationship, the value of the non-violent communication, honoring myself more and realizing that I don't have to commit a codependent dance with people, that just reaffirming things that I already knew and anchoring in hopefully at least the foundation for nonviolent communication so I don't get into, aggressive arguments with people anymore. I'd like to do a couple of the courses again, a couple of the sessions again, like relationships and the nonviolent again, and also the self-nurturing. I'd like to do that. I would say whether you've done a lot of work on yourself or whether you've done almost no work on yourself, this is a good point to stop and take a look at how you relate to yourself, how you relate to others, how you walk through your day-to-day life, whether you go with blinders on or whether you have a full 360-degree view. I would say that this is a key mastery to starting that journey and continuing forward so you can be your full potential. I would say that that's a key point. And if you don't want to, no one's going to hold anything up to you and push you. You have to take the first step yourself.